It's now time for the Southern League Cavaliers Coaches Show with head coach Michael McClure. We now take you to Mike Fowler, your host for tonight's program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Southern League Cavalier Football and the Mike McClure Coaches Show. I'm Mike Fowler. I'll be your host as we talk Cavalier football and visit with Cavalier coach Mike McClure. I want to thank our sponsors for helping bring you our show each Tuesday at 7:30 on 105.5 FM WFJA. Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Fix-It Plumbing, the Farm Bureau of Tramway, Jones Printing Company, and Brick Capital Video. Tonight's show will be rebroadcast at 6 o'clock this Friday night, actually Thursday night this week, prior to our 7 o'clock game on 105.5 FM WFJA. You heard me right. We're going to be on WFJA this week. Video of our coaches show will be posted on the WFJA Facebook page each Wednesday by noon. I look forward to talking with Cavalier coach Mike McClure tonight and bringing you exciting Southern League Cavalier football. We're going to take a short break and hear from our great sponsors. We'll be right back with Coach McClure right after these messages.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Kendall Pawn Shop, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video, WFJA Sports FM 105.5.
Welcome back to the Coach Mike McClure Show. Thank you for joining us tonight, Coach. Welcome back into the booth.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And as we look back to our game last week, much improved Cavalier team that we saw against Green Hope. Even though we went down to the Falcons, Cavaliers just came out and were a totally different team than the week before.
Yeah, I think the adjustments that we made definitely, allowed us to play faster and play a little bit more looser and comfortable. Definitely cleaned up some of the things that we talked about on the previous show that we wanted to clean up and that we wanted to do. And I think we did it. I think overall we were in the game. Everything that they got, we kind of done to ourselves from a defensive standpoint, and then offensively, I felt like we definitely left some scores out there offensively. And if we capitalize on those scores and don't give up those two big plays that we give up on defense, then we easily win that game.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We had talked last week, and we talked a little bit about before the game on Friday, how it was important for you guys to kind of get off to a quick start and move the ball a little bit more. Well, it took a minute 7 to do that in the game as Josh Stone went that 70-yard run off tackle all the way for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So that had to give you some positive momentum, but also give you some good thoughts as the game started.
Definitely was confident, going into it, and that's what we wanted to do. That's why we chose to take the ball instead of deferring to the second half, because we wanted offense to get out to that fast start, and that's what they done. They got out to a good start.
Yeah, it was good. It consistently moved the ball pretty much throughout the whole game. What really hurt us was the penalty side. Penalties at the wrong time, which happens. And then the one series we had where I think we started about the 18-19, our own 18-19, drove all the way down to their territory, and then you had the fumble exchange between Joe Darian and Josh that they recovered, and then that kind of just seemed to take the sails out a little bit.
Yeah, the penalties definitely hurt us offensively and defensively. I feel like it hurt us more so defensively than it did offensively, because we had situations where we were set to get off the field on third down, or we had them in fourth down situations, and we kind of bailed them out. And allowed them to get a first down. So then they drove, and then one of those drives allowed them to get in field goal range, and they had a decent kicker, and so he was able to knock down a field goal there. And then offensively, like you said, the fumble obviously hurt, and then the penalties of when we were driving, moving forward, those penalties that sent us back kind of hurt.
Yeah, and there was one thing that game you mentioned, their offense and how. They were able to move the ball some, but not through the ground. Cavaliers came out and were really hitting on Friday night.
That was our game plan. We knew they wanted to come in and run the triple option, run the option. We knew they had the guys to do it. That was their system. So we felt if we can get them to do something that they weren't comfortable doing, which was passing the ball, then we would definitely have a chance to win the game. So, we held them 26 yards rushing. You can't ask for a better, defensive front
Yep.
You know, we just had some mishaps in the back end.
Yeah, exactly right. And there was a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of negative carries they had, and the Cavalier defense just came to play all night long, which was good to see. And again, there was some changes you made, a little bit of switches around on the offensive line, putting John Wilson at guard, and I think you moved Nathan Coley out to the right side, and the Cavs were able to run the ball pretty much all night.
Yeah, we like you said, when we went into game plan on that weekend prior to coming in Green Hope, we felt we needed the best athletes on the field, and we needed to put guys and have guys go both ways. And so we said John needed to go on the offensive line. You know, he bought into it, and that's what half of our ground game came from, you know, running behind him being a little bit more athletic to get out on pulls and those type of things, and which really helped. And now we are opening up our offense, and we're more flexible to do a lot more things with him in there.
Yeah, it's great. And, actually, for those who have listened and watched the games, John Wilson the last couple of years has worn number 44, but because you pull him in the guard, switched to 50. And for some reason, he looked bigger on the field than number 50. But had a great game, as did the All Cavs. So everybody come out pretty much okay after. I know Jabari Pearson was limping off late in the game. Is he all right? And,
yeah.
I think even Josh Stone seemed to be a little shaky.
He's still a little banged up. Get his knee looked at. He hurt his knee, and it was pretty swole coming in on Monday, and then he still has some swelling today. So, he's going to get that looked at from a doctor, MRI check on that. And so he Reggie Butler, corner, he's out, unfortunately, with a concussion. He left the game late with a concussion. So, for the most part, everybody else is just a little banged up and bruised up, but they'll be ready to play. They're good to play.
So Reggie he'll have to miss this week's game then because of that?
Yeah, Reggie will have to sit out this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go into our segment we started last week. We talked about the linebackers last week. We wanted to focus this week on the Cavalier wide receivers, and these are some guys that obviously try to get the ball to. Josh had some good passes the other night and just missed a couple of them. One I know he had to Anthony Robinson, and one he was trying to get to Caleb Waters. But we had Caleb Waters playing tight end, Anthony Robinson, of course, the wide out, Jeremiah Freeman, Dylan Green, and then we also see Matt Kidd now and then. What are some of these talents you're seeing on the wide receiver side?
Well, definitely a versatile group. Anthony, he's able to go in and play wide receiver, or he's able to come in the backfield and play running back. Jeremiah Freeman, he's one of our guys. He doesn't get as many touches as we would like him to at receiver, but one thing he does well is block. He does that extremely well. Dylan Green is another guy that we just want, to kind of break out of his shell, have him come out of the shell, and just because he can get it done. We just got to find out ways to get him more involved and get him going a little bit more, and actually moving Caleb down to that tight end position based off of the changes that we made offensively has been a big help as well.
Great. Yeah, it's exciting to watch these guys, and on occasion we'll get a chance watching their patterns and trying to get open. And we did notice that with Jeremiah on some of the good blocks he had going forward. So that was a good thing. So let's take a quick look at the Sound Hills 3A, 4A conference. We'll go look at last week of Week 2 results. Of course, Green Hope 27, the Cavaliers 10. Lee County had a visit from Winston-Salem Glen last week. It was kind of a last-minute game that was scheduled. So Winston-Salem Glen came to Sanford and took down Lee County 41-13. It was Grays Creek 13, Union Pines 12. Pinecrest 48, Anson County 0. Richmond County 32, Butler 29. Hoggard County 24 and Scotland County 7. Hope County 43 and Lumberton 0. Those were the results from Week 2 in the Sound Hills 3A, 4A conference. And this week, of course, the Cavaliers will be at South Johnston, I mentioned, on Thursday night this week. And one thing I want to mention again, we are going to be on 105.5 FM WFJA this week due to contractual obligations with the station. NC State is opening up their season, so they get the WWGP spot, and we'll be on the WFJA side once again starting at 6 o'clock with a replay of the Coaches Show, 6:30 live pregame, and 7 o'clock kickoff. The rest of the games are all on Friday night at this time. Lee County will be at South Granville. Pinecrest will be at Middle Creek. Southview at Hope County. Scotland County at Marlborough County, and that's a team out of South Carolina. Cardinal Gibbons at Richmond County, and Union Pines at Western Harnett, kind of renewing an old Tri-County conference game there. So those are your games coming up in the Sound Hills 3A, foray, and we're going to go take another time out to hear from our great sponsors. We'll be back with more from Coach Mike McClure right after these messages.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Kendall Pawn Shop, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video, WFJA Sports FM 105.5.
Welcome back to the Coach Mike McClure Show. It is now time of the show where we come to our players of the game for Southern Lee in the previous week. And the first ones, of course, are the ones that are selected by myself and Austin Thomas, your Southern Lee Cavalier radio crew. And this is the WWGP Norman Financial Group Offensive Player of the Game. And we'll start this week. And our winner this week is quarterback Josh Stone. We talked earlier, just had a great game for the Cavaliers, got off to a great start with a 70-yard touchdown run, had some other good scrambles, was able to throw the ball a little bit, and Josh had a pretty solid game.
He did. I mean, he came in for the first week of us repping, the changes that we made offensively. I felt like, he came in and handled it well, and he did what he could when he could do it. The sky's the limit for him in his offense, and like I said, we just wanted to play to his abilities and what he's more comfortable with, and it clearly showed that we were heading in the right direction with the way that we're going, and so he had a good game. Proud of him on Friday's efforts.
Yeah, we noticed that too. You can almost see his confidence getting better throughout the game. You really could, based on last week. And like you said, with experience, that's going to happen. Yeah. So congratulations to Josh Stone, our Norman Financial Group Offensive Player of the Week, and the WWGP Norman Financial Group Defensive Player of the Game. And we could have picked a few different Cavaliers, but we decided to go with John Wilson. John had another solid game. He's kind of like the quarterback of the defense, if you will. And as we talked earlier, they put him at guard also, so he had a lot to do and still had some hard hits in that game too. So what else can you say about John?
Yeah, John, he definitely was all over the field. He played both sides. He rarely didn't come off the field, play special teams as well. He could have been a candidate for overall player of the week as well. But, definitely, proud of his efforts. He, flowed to the football well, end up the game with 5 tackles. So that means that he got after it offensively and defensively, and he didn't let one side of the ball affect his production on the other side of the ball. Mm-hmm. He stayed consistent, which is really hard to do, especially when you get tired like that.
Yeah.
So for him to come out and still have 5 tackles is real big.
Yeah, and there was one play of the game. I think it was Nasir Blue that had the back by the lower body, and John just came in and just leveled him for the tackle. So it was a great play. So again, congratulations to John Wilson and Josh Stone for being our players of the game. And also the Wilkinson Chevrolet Coach Mike McClure Player of the Game will get his name engraved on this trophy. And at the end of the season, this will end up back at Southern Lee in the trophy case to be displayed. And Coach, who is our Wilkinson Chevrolet Coach Mike McClure Player of the Game this week?
Wilkinson overall Player of the Game this week is Anthony Robinson. Mentioned his name earlier as far as all of the things that he could do, from playing receiver and then coming in and playing running back. He catches punts for us, kick return. He even played defense. He was one of those guys that we mentioned that had to play both ways. By him being one of our better athletes, and he done that as well. Ended up having a pass deflection on defense, and his stats for offense were, he had 2 catches for 41 yards and 9 rushes for 49 yards. Mm-hmm. So another guy that we felt was well deserving of overall player, just because of his contribution on special teams, offensively and defensively on Friday night. We felt he was well deserving of the award.
Yes, he sure was. So congratulations, Anthony Robinson, this week's Wilkinson Chevrolet Coach Mike McClure Player of the Game. So, Coach, let's take a quick look at South Johnston. We're going to take on the Trojans this Thursday night, and they come in this week at 2-0. They're from the 3A East Conference 21. They've actually, their first 2 games, they've taken on former Tri-County foes of ours. Defeated Triton last week 33-20, and Western Harnett the week before 41-6. Back in the spring, they finished 2-5. We do have a history against South Johnston, but we haven't played them since 2010. That was the last one. But they're averaging about 186 yards a game in the air and 238 yards on the ground. So it's going to be a task for the Cavaliers. But what are you seeing in some of the preparation you're seeing for South Johnston?
Yeah, another week where we got to come in and we just got to stop the run. They got a great running back. He can make you miss, or he can look to run you over. And then they got a well-seasoned quarterback who's been in the system for a while, so he's capable to run the offense on what they like to do. Big on running the screens, big screen team, and then they like just to hit the inside zone and counter look with the running back. But that running back, he's their go-to guy when they're in the bind, whenever they're in the crunch. That's who they want to go to. And defensively, they're similar to us. They want to play 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers in the box, and just get after it. So very physical up front, lineman-wise. So it should be a good game. Like I said, I feel like we match up well against them. And I think, we'll come in and we'll take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, and like we talked earlier before the show, it's an experienced backfield they have. The quarterback and the 2 leading rushers on the team are all seniors.
Yeah.
So they've got the experience that you were talking about as well.
Yeah, and then so, coming in, and that experience makes a difference. If, just look at us for example. We got guys who going into their second years of varsity football and, starting to kind of turn the corner. So for them, they may took their lumps last year, but we definitely have to respect them where they're at this season.
Yeah, and again, we're excited to see it this week. Obviously, so much improvement from week 1 to week 2. Experience is going to do that for you. So we're excited to see how things go this Thursday night. Before we go to the next break, just going back, school's in session now, week and couple days now. How do the kids react? Is there a time where they're maybe a little more sluggish because you got school to deal with now? When it comes to practice, you'd be able to keep them pretty focused.
Yeah, just a little. I think doing the meetings is the hardest time. Because they've been sitting in the classroom all day. Listening to teachers and getting instruction that way, and then the end school, and then go back and sit in the classroom and watch film and to go over plays, and to do that, we catch a few sleeping here and there, but it's just because they have a long day while in the classroom, but so we try to monitor that. We try to make sure that we keeping everybody involved, so we don't have those guys that occasionally fall asleep just because they're tired and those type of things. But for the most part, the transition, we've been going at that time, for a while, after school, and so it helps them they've already been acclimated to practicing at that time and going out at the field at that time. So I think school was just another part of it for them, so they were able to kind of roll right into the flow with things, and that was kind of our thought process, to go ahead and have practice in the afternoon, because most of your games, all of your games, is going to be played 7 o'clock afternoon as well, around the time of the heat. So we just want them to be able to make an easy transition with that.
Yeah, and the crowd Friday night was a pretty decent crowd out there. It was hard where we sit up now doing the games, kind of see the whole stands, but it did look like there was a pretty decent crowd Friday night coming out there.
Yeah. We still want to get more people out, though. Still want to see more students out. My goal and my dream is to see, a whole student section where, they're cheering on the Cavs and they're cheering on their classmates. That's my vision for the program as we continue to move and as we have our next home game.
Yep, exactly. And next home game will be September 10th. Don't forget. So come to Cavalier Stadium and come cheer on these Cavaliers, because they're going to be a good team. They're making progress each week. Coach McClure and his staff doing a great job. So we're excited to see how this goes. And but we're going to be on the road again this week. So the way the schedule works out, we're home away. So it's kind of consistent. So we're going to go and take one more time out here from our great sponsors. We'll be back right after these messages. We thank you, and we'll be back with more with Coach Mike McClure right after these messages.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Kendall Pawn Shop, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video, WFJA Sports FM 105.5.
welcome back, and we hope you enjoyed listening to the Coach Mike McClure Show. We remind you to join us each Tuesday at 7:30 on 105.5 FM WFJA, and every Friday night normally prior to our games at 6 o'clock or 6:30, depending upon the kickoff, on 95.1 FM and 1050 AM WWGP. Reminder, this week we play Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We will be on 105.5 FM WFJA this week because NC State is taking our normal slot on WWGP. Our Coaches Show is also posted on the WFJA website and Facebook page each Wednesday by noon, and we are glad you have taken these opportunities to join us this season for Cavalier football. We also remind you to check out the WFJA website. Go to sports, then high school football, and you'll see a choice of pages to include our results page with complete game articles posted by midnight after the games, the conference standings and power rankings, schedules for all the teams in the Sand Hills 3A, 4A, and up-to-date season stats for the Southern League Cavaliers. Good luck, Coach, to the Cavaliers this week as they we travel to South Johnston for kickoff on Thursday night again at 7 o'clock. We thank our sponsors for bringing you our show tonight: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Sheriff Tracy Carter, the Farm Bureau of Tramway, Fix-It Plumbing, Jones Printing Company, and Brick Capital Video. We thank you for listening to WFJA and WWGP Sports. Good night, everyone. Go Cavs!
You've been listening to the Southern League Cavalier Coaches Show with head coach Mike McClure and show host Mike Fowler. On behalf of all Coaches Show sponsors, we thank you for listening to tonight's program. This has been a production of WFJA and WWGP Sports.